When I was a kid, we'd go to Las Vegas. We'd go on a road trip with the family, and you'd see the sign for Death Valley. And I always thought, why would you go to Death Valley? Because it's
die.
To die. That's what it sounded like. So we never went. So now we're gonna go try it out and see what happens. So,
voluntarily, camping even.
Yeah, camping in Death Valley. So this may be very bad.
So we took our first trip to Death Valley in the early spring, and we drove in on the east side.
Yeah, don't do it during the summer.
No, early spring is much better. On the east side, we drove in through Baker, lots of cool sights to see with dry lake beds and stuff along the way, but we were really building up to what we're going to give you in this video.
Yes, your top 10 places to go on your trip to Death Valley when it's not summer.
And you won't die. So we're counting down from 10 up to our favorite number 1. So number 10 here is Zabriskie Point. This is one of the best spots in the park to watch sunrises and sunsets. It's really easy to get to, a short walk off of the main road.
The one thing I kept worrying about was this huge rainstorm that was heading our way, so that's where all my attention was focused.
The rain actually worked in our favor for stop number 9 on the list, which was Darwin Falls, because it's a waterfall in the middle of the desert, which you would not expect.
Yeah, the rain helped a lot because the road you take is about 3 miles. It's a dirt road and it's pretty rough, so it's better to have a small truck or some type of 4x4. Actually, 4x4 is required if you go past 3 miles too, because it gets pretty crazy.
Right, but once you get out there, the trail is only about a mile. It's pretty easy. You do have to climb under some boulders and stuff like that, but the view, as you can see, is pretty epic.
Golden Canyon Trailhead. This was one of my favorites because you have some options. You can either take a short loop, which is about 1.5 miles, or you can take a 3.5 mile loop. And there's a lot of options there. So if you have someone who's not an avid hiker, take the short route. If you want someone that really wants to get into it, you can take a longer route.
And as we got here, it was actually raining pretty hard. The road up ahead was washed out, so a lot of people were turning back, and we just decided to go for it because we were only here for a few days, so we decided to hike in the rain.
And the place was all ours, and we did take a wrong turn, which you can do. So there are signs. Follow the signs. If you see a left, don't take it unless there's a sign, because you'll probably get lost.
We did, but it was still pretty along the way to being lost. And then we found our way finally to what we were trying to get to, which is at the end is Red Cathedral. So it's a really cool rock wall. It's red rock that looks like a cathedral of a church. It's pretty epic.
And there's some pretty narrow pathways to get to that part of the trail as well. So Keep an eye out.
Number 7 on our list is the Salt Creek Interpretive Trail. This one is awesome for families. It's even wheelchair accessible, so everybody can go on this one.
Yeah, super easy to get to. I'd say our whole trip took about maybe an hour.
Yeah, and there's lots of pretty sights to see along the way, but the thing everyone comes for are these amazing pupfish.
Yep, they're super cute, and they follow each other around, and it's amazing that there's little fish in this water because the water is so full of mineral and salt that it's almost impossible for anything else to live in it.
Right, these guys are badass. They're endangered, and this is the only place in the world where these particular species of pupfish live. So it's very cool to get to see them. Best time to see them is we were there in March in the spring. I think they're mating and swimming upstream and all that kind of stuff, so we got lots of good views of them. Number 6 on our list is the Artist Drive. It was a 9-mile one-way road, beautiful views all along the way. There's a bunch of lookout points where you can stop, and the most famous spot is the Artist Palette.
What I liked is that the road was a big loop, so you kind of go into the mountainside and it drops you off down this huge straightaway going into the valley. So if you time it out right, you can see a pretty epic sunset on your way down the hill.
And the colors, as you can see, it looks like the mountains have been spray painted. It's amazing, and it changes with the different times of the day. Depending on how the light is falling on it, these greens and reds really pop.
Yeah, I would say late afternoon into the evening is the best time to check this area out.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so number 5 on our list, we're cheating a little bit because this is just outside of Death Valley, but the Amargosa Opera House and Hotel is absolutely worth a visit for its amazing story.
The crazy story behind this place, the woman that owns it was a famous ballet dancer traveling around the country, driving through here with her husband in the 60s, got a flat tire, and found what was an abandoned movie theater and turned it into the opera house. And she did one-woman shows, painted this crazy mural inside. So we're going to do a tour. It's $5 each to you stop into the hotel, pay them $5, and they're going to give us a tour in a little bit. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he got to pet cats.
They have cats, so I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. They got cats.
On the Mesquite sand dunes after a couple days of heavy rain, and the negative is that the footprints don't really go away because of the wetness, but the bonus is that it's hard packed, so it's much easier to walk than loose sand, so it's not as tiring, but it's beautiful.
It's a rare desert worm that I caught on camera. I'm trying to take a picture of it. Don't interrupt. This is art. And see, then here's a. Oh, he's got sand on, so it's probably not going to taste anything. I'll just bite his head off. Ah.
Found a snake trail.
We're in a rail car.
In a rail car in the desert.
In a ghost town.
In a ghost town.
Nevada, we're in Nevada all of a sudden.
And it's cold and rainy, so there's no snakes.
That's true.
That's good, so we don't have to worry about that.
And this is camping here, rainy camping.
Is that what you're calling it?
And look. Pretty awesome. So this is a ghost town of Rhyolite. I think that's how you say it. Rhyolite. An actual ghost town, meaning there's nothing here. Pretty awesome, yeah? So Chris is certain that the movie The Island was filmed here, which...
My girlfriend Scarlett Johansson was here.
has Scarlett Johansson in it, so it's pretty exciting.
Scarlett!
Where are you?
Scarlett, where are you?
So this one is a little bit of a cheat again because it's not in Death Valley, but it's not far. It was about 40-minute drive from our campground in the middle of Death Valley, and it has a really cool backstory. The prospectors found gold here in 1904. A few years later, there were thousands of people there, a bunch of grocery stores, saloons, and by 1920, it had dried up and there were only 14 people left.
I don't know about all that. All I know is that when I was walking down the street, I realized that the movie The Island with my girlfriend Scarlett Johansson was filmed there, and that's where it all stopped for me. So take what you want with all the facts.
And right on the edge of Rhyolite is this awesome open-air museum. It's always open. It's free to explore. It got its start in 1984 when this Belgian artist created The Last Supper, the most famous work that you'll see here. And then people just started adding stuff, and it actually only gets better as the desert takes its toll on it with wind and weather and sun and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, everything there is pretty beat up and faded, but it's really, really neat, and there's a lot of history there.
And you get to interact with the art. You can actually sit on that display. As you can see, we took part in that.
Number 2, Dante's View. This is one of those experiences where you have to do a double take. At least it was for me. We took about a 12-mile windy road. You go up this pretty intense hill at the end, and you make this turn, and there it is. It's just a majestic view.
Yeah, it literally kind of takes your breath away when
Yeah,
you first
absolutely.
see it. You just see the entire 140-mile Death Valley stretching out beneath you. It's a great way to start your trip. And we saved the best for last.
Yes, number 1, Badwater Basin.
This place was amazing. 282 feet below sea level. You can see just how far that is in this sign. We walked out, and one of the first things we saw in this like salty, weird mud patch were these scientists doing an experiment. It turns out they were from University of Nevada, and they're researching basically to see what life could survive on Mars, because that's pretty much as close as you can get to that environment here on Earth is here at Badwater Basin.
One of the cool things about our experience is the rain, which you can see the water all over the ground. This almost never happens. So This experience was very unique. You're kind of walking in about a half inch of water all the way out there. And while you're out there, you're just standing in water with salt.
Yeah, and it reflects in the sky. I mean, I got a little bit teary-eyed, I'm not going to lie. It was pretty majestic out there. And it made it worthwhile because camping in the rain, not so much fun.
Yeah, not so much for that, but for views like this where you can't tell the sky from the ground, it's pretty impressive and very salty.
Real quick. It's so salty. It's so salty.
You like salt.
I do like salt. I'm gonna go home and put it on a steak.
You just need a margarita.